in retaliation to the Pahalgam terror attack. The world was left stunned to see India's indigenous drone warfare system when we destroyed terror camps of Jaish-e-Mohammed through our missiles, the way we defended ourselves from Pakistani missiles. It established one thing: drones are here to stay. At least three factors have established this. First, battlefield dominance demonstrated in Operation Sindoor and other conflicts where drones have become the primary offensive and defensive tool. Second, explosive growth of commercial applications, particularly in the delivery logistics where regulatory barriers collapsed. And third, the emergence of autonomous swarm warfare system. We will focus on the military part. Operation Sindoor marked India's defining movement in the drone warfare. Launched after Pahalgam terror attacks, Operation used precision drone strikes on multiple terror bases. Pakistan used this against us. We used our drones to stop them. For the first time, indigenous loitering munition, SkyStriker and Nagastra-1 were deployed at scale, delivering accurate low-collateral strikes. High-end surveillance platforms, including Heron drones, tracked targets and documented operation in real time. Operation Sindoor did not only neutralize it, it demonstrated India's capacity that we have married AI with the drone technology. And it was indigenous. Now let's look at other military events too. Ukraine. In Ukraine, water drones, air drones, they have destroyed air bases, thousands of kilometers inside Russia. Submarine drones, they destroyed Russian destroyers. Iran, Israel-Iran confrontation. Drone swarm tested air defense systems. Unprecedented. The scale was big and it showed how integrated defenses can still hold. From West Asia to Southeast Asia, drone has become the frontline weapon. The Thailand-Cambodia border conflict, which escalated significantly in July, marked the first Southeast Asian state-on-state conflict where drones played a central role, with Cambodia deploying FPV kamikaze drones. Now, handheld drones have made tanks very vulnerable. Water drones have made destroyer vulnerable. Underwater drone missiles have made counter anti-missile system useless. And drones married to AI has revolutionized military. Gaza targets were picked up by AI. Swarm drones can overwhelm security perimeter. The Reacher has an issue, the American, very expensive. You require total air dominance. But now, let's just sum it up. How has drone redefined the battlefield? Have drones made tanks, destroyers vulnerable? And drones married to AI, are they the future of the warfare? And how is India prepared? On this issue, I'm joined by Air Marshal VPS Rana, Air Commodore Dr. Ashwinder Singh Bahal, and Group Captain V. N. Jha. Let me straight away go to Dr. Bahal. Dr. Bahal, is drone the weapon of future?
Karthikeya, first of all, thank you very much for calling me along with this esteemed panel and acknowledge their combined wisdom. Warfare is becoming, Karthikeya, more and more autonomous at the tactical level, where speed of response and the emerging threats that come into multi-domain operations make it imperative that we have systems which are able to respond quickly and autonomously, which means that the cheaper combat systems are likely to neutralize the high-value targets. The best example is the one which was of Spiderweb, when the drones, which were basically first-person view drones, which are utilized in a hybrid manner with the agents. And 117 such drone attacked 5 airfields and neutralized 10 to 20 strategic bombers like T-22 and T-95. And you know what is the cost of a T-22 and a T-95 is between $100 to $125 million. And these drones were just a few $1,000s, and they created a strategic disruption effect. Now, when we talk of strategic disruption effect, it not only is in getting a hard kill, but just imagine the drones that came in Poland, Belgium, Germany, Norway, and many other countries, including the Nordic countries. that we found that they disrupted the flight operations and the complete mechanism of aviation sector in those countries, and instilled a fear factor into the civilian population, and yet they were not armed, yet they did not attack anything. So they have now become a weapon of choice which can create strategic outcomes by having a very, very nominal cost. But at the same time, it does not mean, and you mentioned the underwater systems like Toloka
Yes.
150 or Toloka
Yes.
2000, 1000, which has 2000 kilometers range and a 5-ton warhead. And they
Yes.
created the piers of Crimean Bridge or the coastal defenses, and even they knocked off the Sea Baby, knocked off a submarine, a Russian
Yes.
submarine. So the advantages of using drones, there is a slow movement from manned to unmanned, but it does not mean that the unmanned systems by their own can create strategic effect of winning or losing a war. They can cause a large scale attrition. They can cause a cost to the continuation of operations as being done against the energy targets of both sides. The current rate of utilization of drones is hundreds of drones are crossing each other's border in Russia-Ukraine war. They are making 4 to 4.5 million drones by Ukraine, and Russia is producing around 3 to 4 million drones in a year.
Okay.
But at the same time, they have not been able to stop the war. At the same time, Ukraine has not been able to stop the ground operations of the Russians. And at the same time, when they have knocked off 3,000 out of the 4,000 tanks of Russia by drones, it doesn't mean that they have been able to get a back. So
Okay.
drones are of a composite system of warfare. Drones play their own part and be the strategic disruptors and create the cost factor
You know,
and attack those vital systems. But it doesn't mean that by just drones, you still need your army, you still need the tanks, you still
absolutely.
need the fighter
But
aircraft
let me
for
take
the
this to
roles that
Mr.
they
Rana.
play.
One thing, when I was doing my research for the program, Mr. Rana, the word that was coming again and again was these weapons don't need to come back. The expendability that you can destroy them in the battlefield. Your MiGs need to come back. Your other important machines need to come back. Tanks need to come back. You can use them and destroy them, and that is what these drones are making a difference. You can use them as a kamikaze if they fail.
Thank you, Karthikeya. Good evening to fellow panelists. Great to be with the old friends. First of all, what you talked about is, and what Commodore Bahal also alluded to, it has become a democratization of the drones. This is the word that is now being used: democratization of the air power. That means, what primarily it means is that even the state and the non-state actors who do not have the money power to buy bigger systems can actually play this in any of the warfare, and we see that what is happening in all the wars around us. The kind of it from just being assisting the war, now it has become central to the warfare. So this has been, there is now a doctrinal change that has come to the warfare. Earlier they were part and parcel of, they were one of the weapons, but now more or less these have become central to your doctrine, central to your warfare strategy. And what is the biggest part is that your entire drone. We say drones. You said that they don't need to come back, but actually drones are like ranging from $10 drone to the multi-million dollar drones. They are as good as the aircraft, both in terms of capability and in terms of the price. There you are. Then what Air Commodore Behel also said about he briefly referred to the manned unmanned system. Now this is a new thing that which is now drones are not going to fly by themselves. They are also going to team up with the manned missions. So something that we call about the man unmanned teaming. And there's a already proven this thing by US, by Korea, by China, and also we are also in that field. So that's going to be another big leap forward, where the missions, what we used to have the packages going earlier, different aircraft doing different roles. Now many of those roles can be done in the manned-unmanned teaming by these combat.
Okay, let me redefine this. Maybe I didn't put it properly. Then all of you can come back to it. Mr. Jha, some weapon systems have redefined societies. For example, when the gunpowder came, with Babur, he was able to take on the forge of Ibrahim Lodi. The difference was in thousands. When the tank was introduced, it was a new weapon. When the machine gun, I'm forgetting the name, that big machine gun was used, it redefined the battlefield after World War I. So my question to you, sir, is drone like that, which is redefining our battlefield?
Very good question, Karthik, and I compliment you the type of narrative that you have made. I was just about 2 weeks back, I'm also a member of IDST, that is the Institute of Defense Scientists and Technologies. And I was hearing a presentation, a very elaborate presentation on the indigenous technology on the drones that, of course, I'm not going to talk about it here and that. But what I came across is the battlefield inputs is making the technology advance leaps and bounds. What even those project leaders and project directors who had taken up the drone project just about 10 years back or 7 years back, they have changed the course of the technology. And that is how the input of the technology is going to advance. And what you asked me, that when gunpowder came, it went through various periods of various stages of being used in multi probed sort of ways. And that is where today the drone is there. I fully, acknowledge what our previous panelists have mentioned. This drone technology is going to dictate the future battlefield. And the military drones are such. Of course, there are many already, but those many already by the major countries, major powers, are going to be redundant in the coming days. Remember that. Because so much of input in the technology has gone right from the airframe. Airframes have now become the stealth. It is radar avoiding, the design is radar avoiding, launcher, propulsion, flight control, navigation system, sensors, including multitude of multi-mode sensors with the fusion AI technologies going through the target acquisition. It is phenomenal right now, the way it is picking out the target. It could be IR target, it could be the radiation target, it could be any other, even the visual platform target. So ammunitions, the type of ammunition it is carrying, destruction logic, whether it is destructing as a kamikaze or it is firing the power from there, or it is, it is something like guiding the fire from the rear.
Yes.
All these are going to be there. So today's battlefield is going to be totally dictated by these drones. We haven't seen much of it. The Pakistan, that Operation Sindoor, we haven't seen much of the drones. Those were the old generation drones being used by Pakistan, and most of it were very, very ineffective. They had taken the technology or the drones which were not very proven on the battlefield. Something what the Turkish they had, that didn't have the courage to cross or come anywhere near the international border. Otherwise, you would have been shot on. For the drone, you invariably need favorable air situation. Otherwise, drone will be absolutely ineffective. Or drone will be on the rear from where it can guide. It can do some sort of force multiplier.
Three active battlefields. People forget that there was a battle which took place a couple of years ago on Nagorno-Karabakh between Armenia and Azerbaijan. And for the first time, people heard of Turkish drones. They supplied it to Azerbaijan and tilted it against Armenia.
Absolutely.
Second
you know what happened?
Yeah.
I was monitoring that Nagorno-Karabakh. It played havoc onto the enemy. The numerous tanks were just destroyed where it was sitting. So all those became a sitting duck.
Absolutely.
So that is the lethal power of the...
So when the drones were deployed by Ukrainians against the Russians, the Time magazine, Dr. Bahal ran a cover, end of the tank. You must have also seen the cover, and a lot of people were upset. You can't retire tanks, but then they ran the cover. So my question is that in terms of marriage of AI with drones, do you think that now this is the tip of the future warfare? Because if you can miniaturize, add intelligence to it, and reduce the human cost, which is something very important in our armed forces, human cost, then that becomes the most potent weapon. Are we looking at drone ships, sir, drone planes, drone destroyers? Russians have drone nuclear-powered missiles, Poseidon. So are we looking at that?
Karthik, a very, very important thing that you have brought out. So, whilst we are moving towards from manned to unmanned, completely unmanned systems, but those are still, in my appreciation, about 40 to 50 years away. We are going to transit very soon into manned unmanned teaming, in which case the Su-57 with S-70 both are stealthy. One is stealthy drone, the other is a stealthy fighter. So they have already undertaken practice operations about 5 to 6 years back. They have already done these missions. So when we are looking at this MUMT, which Air Marshal was mentioning, so that is the other stage that is going to come up to. And that is why it is extremely important when we design a fifth generation aircraft like AMCA, they are already thinking of bringing in MUMT technology into it. So when we are looking at this, yes, there is a slow movement towards unmanned elements, but the manned elements cannot be let go. There are many reasons for that. For example, somebody said that 3,000, that is two-thirds of the weapon systems which have been destroyed, high-value weapon systems in the Russia-Ukraine war, have been mostly because of drone effect, such as the tanks. About 4,000 plus tanks were destroyed, out of which 3,000 were destroyed by the drones from Ukraine. So when we are looking at this aspect and say, yes, drones are going to make a very major role in future, they are going to be critical tool of warfare, but it doesn't mean that we have reached a stage where only drones will be fighting drones. I'll give you a second example. Just give me 30 seconds. Now, where we cannot do that, one thing is that we are working at a drone wall. If you heard in the European side, they are working at a drone wall where they will use a Kruger 100 XR drone, which is an interceptor drone, to tackle the drones that are coming in the form of a wall with a range of about 5 to 6 kilometers, which ensures that no drone crosses over to the Nordic countries or to the Baltic countries. But here, last thing I want to say on this, that let us say there are a lot of people who also say that drones and missile combination can replace large standing armies. In fact, one of the political leaders had also mentioned recently, why do we need such a large army? And then there is a feeling, why do we need fighter aircraft? Now, when the drones go into a contested airspace, the losses are over 80%. 10,000 drones being lost in 1 month. That is the kind of rate of attrition a drone suffers in an integrated air defense battlefield, as was seen in Operation Sindoor
Absolutely.
when we knocked off 90% plus. Last thing, it is basically the fighter aircraft that is able to go into and penetrate into a contested zone, and where, with the flexibility of use, for example, the B-2 that took off from Whiteman Air Base flew 11,500 kilometers to attack the nuclear sites at
You
Iran
know,
and went back
I,
11,500.
I,
These
I,
things cannot be
I
done by drone
understand.
as of
I
this moment.
understand. I understand, Dr. Bahal, that the drones cannot make a moral choice, which a human sitting inside a plane or behind a gun can do. I understand that. But A. Marshal Rana, drones are doing something else. If I'm wrong, you can say, no, Kartikeya, you're wrong. They are giving jitters to the stars of 20th century battle. There's a raging debate in the military academia about the billions of dollars that Trump is spending to build aircraft carriers. A lot of people are saying that why are you building those $15 billion bombs? The IRBMs and the swarm drones will take them down. So, the conversation is also evolving because of these technologies.
Kartikeya, see, warfare has evolved over a period of time. Every time there is a new technology or the new weapon that comes, then comes the race begins for the countering that particular weapon system. Same is happening with the drones. There are like initially when we saw the drones operating they created big psychological impact, and they did create the kind of damage that we all know, and what Air Commodore Bahal also talked about. But the fact also is that there are counter technologies now where, which he also said, that almost, in fact, more than 90% of the drones were engaged and destroyed. So with evolving technologies to counter these drones, obviously there is going to be that challenge to the drone operations as well. So while they make a very, very effective weapon system, there are counter technologies that are available.
Okay.
Like earlier, we were going to engage these, and it was a big concern that the big AD weapons and big AD missiles are going to be used for this. Now today, the laser-based systems are good enough to disrupt these. So it's not that this weapon has come. So one thing is for sure, the warfare is going to evolve. They are going to assist every single maneuver, every single this thing, whether it's a contact or a non-contact battle.
You used a word. You used a word for a question which I had just written down, sir. And I thought I'll be the last question for Mr. Jha. Mr. Jha, Americans took 21 years to fit a railgun and a laser gun in one of the battlecrafts. I think they have given up the railgun thing. They have not been able to integrate it properly. Lasers, they're still working on. Drones, they have been able to work. And these were 3 future technologies. Drone is the first right now.
Absolutely, drone is the first right now, and it is in the, I'll say, primitive stage even right now. There is a vast amount of technology advancement into this. Air Commodore Bahal had mentioned about the AMCA, having the AMCA Mark 1A with the 6th generation technology being incorporated into it, and that is the swarm of drones being guided through it. Now, if AMCA can have it, why can't Tejas 1 or 1A have it? Why can't our own killer drone, in which I was there in the meeting I was mentioning to you, why can't that technology, it is only software, most of the AI assisted software that is in the aircraft, which guides this swarm. So what people are thinking of the 6th generation aircraft or drones, drone swarm should be coming after many years. It can be tomorrow.
Oh, absolutely.
It can be the next battle.
Absolutely.
So all these are the possibilities.
Thank you. Thank you, all of you. I've really run short of time. This is all I had tonight. I'll see you tomorrow at the same time at 7 p.m. Thank you. Good night.
अर्जुन कुछ भी पढ़े मेमोरी में नहीं रहता।
Take a date, not bites.
नो एडेड शुगर, प्रिजर्वेटिव के बिना। डेट्स, बादाम, पिस्ता, काजू और शहद से तैयार किया गया लायन डेट्स नट बाइट्स।
Lion date, not bites.